All right.
The claps with the fucking thing.
The claps with the thing.
Yeah, the claps with the thing.
Still don't know what we're talking about, but it's okay.
Oh my gosh.
Just explain it to me like I'm a child. What are we doing?
Okay. So, basically, we kind of talk about why we do what we do. Why this exists, what kind of inspired us to make this exist.
Right.
In terms of, well, I'm pretty sure for me it was, political division. Yeah. It was, political division. It was seeing shit on the internet, kind of engage in a lot of watching debates and people talk about different topics and stuff and like exploring the internet. And what I kind of found was that the conversations are either repetitive or combative and nothing ends up getting done. And that's usually because there's these barriers the internet creates.
I'm sorry, I just, in my mind, I was about to go, now explain it to me like I was 4. And I'm like, that's not a good time.
Now explain it to me like I was 3. Yeah, so I feel like in order for people to have these like realistic conversations about stuff, doing it on the internet is difficult because you end up in these echo chambers where you kind of hear your own thing and then things end up becoming very combative rather than constructive. So I felt there's need for impartiality and stuff. And I felt like talking to you a lot and the friends I have and trying to
it's also tough to find like it's kind of tough to find a space where it's like you can have like two, because when we talk with our friends, like a lot of us have very different like opinions, and I would say a lot of us are also very opinionated, and that's what I like about my friend group, right? Like I have and I disagree with a lot of stuff, but when we speak about it, it's done with respect, and we can at least see each other's side of the story. And so I like that about like our friend group, and that's kind of what I hope to emulate. That's what I want to emulate.
I don't think I've ever gotten into like a yelling match that ended in
I actually have. Like, But the thing is, like, because like I've gotten into yelling matches with my boys, but because we've been friends for so long, and because we have history, longevity, and like other stuff, like holding our friendship together, like we've been able to overcome that, right? And like I don't know, I think yelling matches are even sometimes good, right? Because it helps you. It's not like it's a successful conversation when it turns into a yelling match, but it helps you see like, okay, why did it turn into a yelling match? And it's good because the next time you have that type of conversation when it's like a heavy topic, you can avoid like losing your temper or like bringing stuff up that will upset you or upset the other person, or like knowing when to back off too. Like that's something I learned as well. But I want to talk about a wide variety of stuff, like everything and anything that's interesting.
That's the only way you kind of learn as well.
And we're kind of stupid.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to pretend that I know everything on every topic, but that's kind of the point. Like, I want to bring people, I want to talk to people, I want to bring people on who are experts and stuff to help me formulate those opinions rather than just me sitting here and like. And
I want to talk about, like, I want to bring people on, like, specifically that, one, disagree with me. Like, I want to talk to people that, like, don't see situations the way I see them, or have ideologies or ways of thinking that are opposed to mine, because I think that makes like enlightening conversations for both sides, and it's good to like just see how other people think, right? Because same thing with what you said, like you don't want to be into an echo chamber where it's just like, hey, I agree with this, I think this is cool too, and it's just like a back and forth. You don't learn anything with that. So.
I've had to force myself, because it's not even gonna lie, it's hard to break out of that mold, and I understand from any side why it's hard to see the other side, especially because you're being reinforced from one side all the time. It kind of, you have to force yourself to do it, and that's why I feel like when you have these conversations, or when I see people have these conversations and it goes left or it goes right, it's because people aren't recognizing that people are really only the product of what they've been seeing, right? So it ends up being combative because both have preconceived notions of who the other person is. If they say they're liberal, they say they're conservative or Democrat, whatever. And then the conversation never starts in a good spot, and then you can never get to that proper solution because anything you say is going to be misconstrued, or you're already in a combative element, right? So no one ends up having those proper conversations. I think
there's some conversations where there really isn't debate, right?
Okay,
right, like there's some conversations like especially like shit that comes to race, like don't talk to me about this shit, like I've
had those too. I definitely believe there's some where it's just like, okay, you're irredeemable, I've done all I can,
right?
There's no way to fix this.
I don't know. I think it's distinguishing between like there's a difference between like having opinions on specific stuff where it's like a reasonable opinion to have, and there's other stuff where it's just like I just fuck it.
There are people who like because there's people who are somewhere in the middle who are ready to have that conversation.
Right.
Right. But I find if you have whenever I've seen. There's this free speech organization at York that's that's pretty central, right? And they have these get-togethers with like both sides, or they have like these drinking parties or like bar nights.
Yeah.
And they said the people who usually only end up coming though are the people who are willing to see the other side anyway, and that's usually people who are on the more center of each side, right? Once you get to the further edges, or we have people who don't even want to have that conversation.
No, I think the more you become like one-sided, it's
whatever,
it's you don't want to see the other side because you become so centralized in your ideology and way of thinking. You're like that's your reality and that's your truth, and it's like the other side. There is no other truth. It's just that is the right way.
And it's getting scary because now the internet's kind of you talk about.
Do you think you have to pick though? Like you have to pick a side because it's kind of tough to. You can't really be middleman. For long. For sure. Right.
Well, so I've felt that way as well because I tend to lead in the middle. I've talked to people who've not gotten mad at me, but had the conversation where it's like, okay, well, what side are you on? It's like, well, what do you mean? It's kind of weird.
I'm gonna try this shit.
I feel as though, right.
This is nice. It's actually nice.
There you go.
What is
it's Mobby.
Mobby. Yeah. Moby. Oh, it has a weird aftertaste.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to do that?
Yeah, it's an acquired thing.
It's an acquired taste. Yeah. What can I say?
Don't worry. I'm putting a little bit of like the Caribbean things. I got you.
It's like a cinnamon taste.
Yeah. So there's cinnamon. There's cinnamon in the. So when you boil it, you can put other spices in it. And my grandma puts cinnamon in it as well.
What's the aftertaste?
The aftertaste is like the bitters.
Got you.
Right. So yeah, I usually put less cinnamon in it, so that's a lot. That when my grandma does, she puts a lot of cinnamon in it, so it's usually not that cinnamony. But
cinnamony?
It's good. It's good.
It's okay. Synonym and cinnamon be kicking my ass a lot.
Oh shit! Where was I?